Hi, my name's Finn, and I know nothing about football. Yes! Yes!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Gillette Mocha Saturday. The 3 p.m. kickoffs are about to get underway. Just before, though, we will now preserve a minute's silence in the studio in remembrance of those who have risked their lives on the front line for us. Clips of the 1 minute silence around the grounds will now take place. What a lovely tribute there. Now then, let's go around the grounds for the news of the goals that have already gone in. Hold on, before we do that, I've got some breaking news from Sky Sports and Mocha Saturday of my own. I've been working here for about 30 years now. I know it's hard to believe with these youthful looks. I've hosted Mocha Saturday for 25 years as well, but I've come to a decision, an incredibly difficult decision, that this will be my final season. Well, thank you everyone. Now sit down and report on your games. Anyway, Phil, tell me about the biggest results from the latest weekend of the Premier League and Championship football.
Yes, Jeff. So the first game of this weekend was Man City against Man United. Man City won 2-0 in the end, but we can actually go live to our pitchside reporter, Patrice Evra, who is at the game now.
This is the problem. See? It's a little bit garlicky, yeah? But it's okay.
So next up was Norwich-Brentford, and Norwich got their first win of the season with a 2-1 win over Brentford, with Timu Pukki scoring the winning goal. The next up, you had Chelsea-Burnley. Chelsea, who are top of the league, ended up with a 1-1 draw against Burnley thanks to Matej Vidra's late goal. Next up was Crystal Palace against Wolves, Conor Gallagher getting the winning goal in a 2-0 win. So now to the Championship. Bournemouth with a 4-0 win over Swansea, with Anthony getting a brace, so as Dom Solanke. Hull got a 2-0 win over Barnsley, with Honeyman and Lewis Potter getting goals. Blackburn got a 3-1 win over Sheffield United, with Ryan Brewster scoring his first goal of the season. Cardiff with a 2-1 win over Huddersfield, with Kiefer Moore scoring a brace. Coventry won 3-2 over Bristol City, with Golden getting 2 goals. Oh, good name, Golden. Oh, was it Godden? I said Golden. Stoke got a 1-0 win, with the winning goal coming from Brown. Next up was Millwall Derby, with Derby getting the point. We can now go live to Paul Scholes giving his reaction after the game. Alright, next up, Nottingham Forest with a 3-0 win, with Lewis Grabban scoring a brace. Mitrovic carried on his fine goal-scoring form with a goal in their 1-0 win over Peterborough. West Brom drew 1-0 with Middlesbrough, as Grady Diangana scored another goal. Reading won 2-1 over Birmingham, with Clark scoring a brace late on in the game. And finally, Blackpool drew 1-0 with QPR. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks for that, Phil.
Thanks for that, Phil.
So, Charlie, how about you say what happened in the world of the National League North and South?
Thanks, Jeff. Now with the National League South scores. Bath City won against Welling United 2-1. Billericay lost 1-4 to Hungerford Town. Braintree Town won 1-0 against Tonbridge Angels. Dartford drew 3-3 with Chippenham. Eastbourne won 2-1 against Chelmsford. And Hemel Hempstead drew 2-2 against the Dorking Wanderers. Maidstone lost to Slough 1-0. Blyth Spartans lost 2-0 to Leamington. Bradford PA won 3-2 to Telford. Chester FC won 4-0 to Boston United. Curzon won 2-1 against AFC Fylde. Farsley Celtic AFC drew 0-0 with Brackley Town. Hereford won 1-0 against Chorley. Kettering Town lost 1-3 to Darlington. Katie's handwriting is absolute god-awful. Spennymoor Town lost 0-2 against Alfred Town. Those were just some of the many scores that will be on the screen. Back to you, Jeff.
Finally, we come to you, Paul. What happened in the first round of the FA Cup?
Yes, Jeff, there was some unbelievable action in the FA Cup today. No major cup upsets though, despite Mansfield, League 2 Mansfield, knocking out League 1 side Sunderland in their own backyard with a goal from Oates in the 5th minute. Also, National League North side knocking out high-flying National League side Grimsby with a Hemmings penalty in the 72nd minute. Charlton Athletic were home to National League South side Havant Waterlooville. 0-0 up until the 72nd minute, but in the end Charlton finding a way through and banging in 4 goals in the last 15 minutes. Halifax and Maidenhead, a National League side clash. 7-4 Halifax went through. Goals from Warren, Warburton, Spence, Walters, Slew and Newby. Amazing action there. We can see a reaction from all the supporters.
You're joking. Not another one?
Another National League South side that were in the FA Cup, Ebbsfleet United were away to Leyton Orient. Ebbsfleet were the dominant team, Jeff, but Leyton Orient did find the break in the 24th minute from a Drinnan goal.
Oh yeah, Paul, we actually have your reaction to the Leyton Orient goal. Do you want to see it? I think the fans do. Let's have a look.
And he... Oh, they've scored. Oh no.
MK Dons and Stevenage, League 1 versus League 2. MK Dons couldn't find a way through. It's 2-2. We've taken to a replay. But League 2 side, Port Vale, thrashing Accrington Stanley, who are League 1. 5-1. Colby Bishop did get a red card though. That wasn't until the 70th minute. And that's when Port Vale found 4 of their goals. League 1 side, Portsmouth knocking out Harrow Borough, the 7th tier league. League 1 side, Crewe knocked out to League 2 Swindon 3-0, and it was at Crewe. And finally, we've got Gillingham 1, Cheltenham 1. Goals from Sithole and Pollock. Not what you're thinking. Yeah, so that is some of just a very few amount of the results from the FA Cup first round. And as you can see, a few more are coming across your screen now.
Well, that's all from us on Gillette Mocha Saturday. Join us again next week. Bye everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Sky Sports News. We have a lot to cover in the next hour or so. First, we'll head to Villa Park, where our reporter Lewis Petman will give us a roundup on the manager's sackings in the Premier League. We'll then be joined by a Champions League expert, James Targett, as he gives us the rundown of this week's European fixtures. And finally, we head to St George's Park, where Katie Humphries will preview England's last 2 World Cup qualifiers against Albania and San Marino. Let's head to Villa Park now so we can chat to Lewis Petman about the manager merry-go-round going on. So Lewis, what can you tell us?
Thanks Finn, it's been a crazy few weeks in the manager merry-go-round. So starting off, it was Newcastle, who are currently in the relegation zone, sacking their manager Steve Bruce. This took longer than expected, to be honest, with the new owners coming in and everyone was talking about the manager getting the sack. So a few weeks passed and they lost a few games, mainly to Tottenham and a few others. And then Eddie Howe has come in, and Eddie Howe's first game in charge will be against Brighton after the international break. Next up, it was Tottenham and the sacking their manager Nuno Espirito Santo, with the club in mid-table and just off the back of a 3-0 loss to out-of-form Man United. They then got in serial winner Antonio Conte in charge, who won his first game in charge in the Europa Conference League against Vitesse, drawing his next game against Everton in the Premier League with a 0-0 result. Next up, it was Aston Villa sacking their manager, who's a boyhood fan of the club, in Dean Smith. The club spent $200 million in the summer after selling their star man in Jack Grealish. So the club sacked Dean Smith after 5 straight losses and have now just announced that Steven Gerrard, former Liverpool captain and current Rangers manager, as their new man in charge. Finally, it was Norwich City who sacked their manager Daniel Farke with only 5 points this season, the club bottom of the league. They're yet to announce who the new manager will be, and we'll keep you posted on what's happening next. Back to you, Finn.
Thank you very much, Lewis. It's been a busy week in the Premier League, and speaking of being busy, we're now joined by James Targett in the studio, who's going to run down all of the European action from this week's Champions League ties.
Right, let's go straight into Group E. We had Bayern Munich against Benfica. Bayern Munich actually won that 5-2 with Robert Lewandowski actually scoring a hat-trick in that game. We then had Dynamo Kiev against Barcelona. Yes, Chicken Kiev, very funny. Yeah. Yes, they lost 1-0 to Barcelona, so Barcelona won that 1-0. Moving off to Group F, it was Atalanta against Manchester United, 2-2. Cristiano Ronaldo scoring twice in that game, so rescued them twice. Villarreal against Young Boys, Villarreal won that 2-0, and that's Group F. We move on to Group G, we've got Wolfsburg against Salzburg. Wolfsburg beat Salzburg 2-1. And then we also had Sevilla against Lille. Lille beat Sevilla 2-1 as well. And we move on to Group H. It's Malmo against Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech scoring for Chelsea to clinch that game for them. Very good for them. We also then had Juventus against Zenit St. Petersburg. Juventus won that 4-2. Very, very entertaining game, that one. Very entertaining. We then had Group A. It was Manchester City against Club Brugge. Man City won that 4-1. After a while, it was convincing. We had a John Stones own goal, wasn't it? Yes, very much indeed. And they also had RB Leipzig against PSG. That was 2-2. Very entertaining game, that one. Watched that myself. Then we had Group B. It was AC Milan against Porto. That ended 1-1. Very stalemate, but it is what it is. You've got to get a point. And we also had Liverpool against Atletico Madrid. Very good win for Liverpool there, 2-0 to them. Group C, we had Borussia Dortmund against Ajax. Ajax beat Borussia Dortmund 3-1. And we also had Sporting Lisbon against Besiktas. And Sporting Lisbon beat them 4-0. Very, very comfortable for Sporting there. And last but not least, we had Group D, starting off Real Madrid against Shakhtar Donetsk. Real Madrid won that 2-1. Very, very good for them. Last game, we had Sheriff Tiraspol against Inter Milan. That ended 3-1 to Inter Milan. And yeah, that was a good win.
Very interesting game.
Yeah, very interesting. Good win for Inter as well. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this as that. Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio.
Right, still so much to get through, and we now head over to St George's Park where Katie Humphries is reporting live. Good afternoon, Katie.
Yes, afternoon Finn. I'm outside St George's Park where inside the England football team are training in preparations for their two games against Albania and San Marino in the World Cup qualifiers for Qatar next year. We've had some team news outside of St George's Park. 5 players have withdrawn from the camp. So Marcus Rashford has left due to his ongoing injury and he wants to continue his rehab. Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford's Man United teammate, has left due to picking up an injury in the Manchester derby at the weekend. He's not fit for the England games. James Ward-Prowse has also left. The Southampton captain has got a bit ill, so he's had to leave. Mason Mount had an ongoing wisdom tooth problem and has had to leave. And most recently, Declan Rice has also left. The West Ham man who is on form at the moment, he will not be in England's 2 games. In replacement, Emile Smith-Rowe, the Arsenal youngster who's been outstanding this season so far, has earned his first senior England call-up, which is amazing news for him. A lot of Arsenal fans are very delighted for him. Amazing form this season so far for the Gunners. Few question marks, few eyebrow raises of certain choices that Gareth Southgate has gone with. Tyrone Mings, who hasn't even got into Aston Villa's side, has been called up. No for Kayo Tomori, who's been excellent for AC Milan this year. Manchester United trio, Jesse Lingard, Mason Greenwood and probably most surprising, Jadon Sancho has not been called up to Gareth Southgate's 25-man squad, all due to not playing. Mason Greenwood, another player that's always been on the radar to get his England call-up, but it's not happened once again. Gareth Southgate faced the media on Thursday after his 25-man squad, and I've got a couple of quotes here from him. He said that he doesn't think he's inconsistent. A lot of people, a lot of England fans do believe that Gareth Southgate has only picked players due to their high status. He says, I know people say I'm inconsistent, but I don't think I am. If you're playing regularly for your club, you've got as much of a better chance of us assessing your level compared to the rest of the group. Back to you, Finn, in the studio.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. That's all we've got time for this hour. When we get back after the break, we'll develop more on the manager merry-go-round and get more reactions all over the footballing world.